Now, I'm going to start this video by saying perhaps the most controversial statement, maybe of all time, and that is, I didn't enjoy Black Flag. I know, but please, hear me out first. Now, I wasn't its biggest fan for the same reason I don't like most of the more recent Assassin's Creed titles, and that is for the simple fact that, well, I didn't think it felt like Assassin's Creed. You know, playing as a pirate, spending a lot of time on your ship in the naval combat, it didn't really appeal to me, so I kind of just gave it a miss and never went back to it. Now, of course, I'm not dumb. All you hear is great things about Black Flag. I kind of just took it as the game just wasn't for me, which was fine. But luckily, here we are with Black Flag Resynced, which came out at a perfect time for Assassin's Creed after years and years of pretty subpar, or at worst, garbage Ubisoft games. So I was optimistic to try Black Flag again with modern improvements to see either how wrong I was, or if the game just isn't for me after all. But at this point, I am very happy to report I have never been so wrong in my life. Now, although Black Flag does put a lot of emphasis on being a pirate, it really is still a faithful Assassin's Creed game, which is exactly what differentiates this game from the Ubisoft titles of late. The game shows you this straight away, as in the beginning we start off in the middle of a big ship battle, but then straight afterwards we have to chase down and kill an assassin, and then literally after robbing the assassin and using this desire for gold as a catalyst for our journey, we encounter the Templars, and then naturally come in contact with the assassins. Now, Edward Kenway is a great protagonist, as not only is he likeable, but his arc of being a pirate with no honour or care in the world for others, to understanding what it is to not only be an assassin, but to actually care about something greater than gold or even himself. And following Kenway's transition, and at the heartbeat of it all, with the Assassin and Templar feud, this is exactly what all great Assassin's Creed games do. And that's the thing as well, even though I still prefer all the on-land assassin stuff, the naval combat and exploration is still really good. Now, of course, the number one thing expected of the remake was it was going to look amazing. It's not only stunning graphically, but it's so bright and vibrant, and sometimes it's fun just sailing around on the Jackdaw, listening to everyone's favourite shanty.
I thought I heard the old man say, leave her, Johnny, leave her.
But then there's actually a lot of content to do as well. Now, I, like most other normal people, have a lot of disdain to pretty much most open world content, especially from the kings of open world slop, Ubisoft. However, I actually found most of my playtime coming from side content, and not only just doing it, but enjoying it as well. Like, I get to some extent just seeing things get ticked off your checklist. It's fun, and it's satisfying, but I think my rule for side content especially is a game needs to have at least one of two things. Either the core gameplay needs to be really fun so you don't mind doing the tedious things, since you just enjoy playing the game anyway, or two, the reward needs to be not only justified for your labour, but something worthwhile. And Black Flag does both of these things. Now, of course, it's absolutely worth mentioning that basically everything in the game isn't some new content, and Ubisoft have now turned a corner. Like, of course, this is only just an enhanced version of one of their older, better games anyway. So while there is some new things that they have done, which are really good, basically everything story and world related are from a much simpler and better time. But hopefully the reception to the remake shows Ubisoft what the fans are actually still wanting from this series. But let's be honest, let's not hold our breaths for that. But anyway, getting back on track. When you're doing things like the assassination contracts, or even looting chests, they're just fun in themselves. And also the bigger content like the Secret Templar and the Mayan outfits were enjoyable as you're actually working towards something really cool. And I was even surprised by all the little islands you can visit, as the side content is really well done. The actual layout of these areas are very efficient. They're almost Dark Souls-esque, where you almost loop back on yourself, and once you have done all the content, you have easy access back to the Jackdaw. It's really cool, and I was not expecting such intricate design, especially just for some random side content. And then, of course, we have the Jackdaw itself. While it's still the aspect I don't enjoy as much in the game, it's incredibly well done. There's a lot of customization visually, but the actual combat is pretty serviceable. It's fun enough, don't get me wrong, but it is pretty limited. It's just shooting your cannons, really, at the end of the day. Obviously, there's not much else you can do on the ship. It's fine, you know, it never gets boring or anything. It just never gets any better than that. And then we have some of the features that are remake specific. Now, I played a good few hours of the original just before the remake to get a rough understanding of the mechanics, and I will say Resynced feels a lot better, which of course would be expected, but it's really smooth. The movement and parkour feel just that bit quicker, and it's just much easier overall with the movement. And also the features like being able to crouch and jump on command are absolutely crucial, but it just makes the stealth and traversal flow so much easier. The remake also brings in some different ways to deal with assassinations or trailing scenarios. Trailing missions are notorious in Assassin's Creed for being complete garbage, as they just take so long and are so boring and repetitive. They're cool in concept, you know, it's what an assassin would do, but it does not transfer over to reality. Now though, instead of tediously following someone for 5 minutes straight, we can just kill them, and then we can find the information on the target or the area we need to go to from there, which is of course much more enjoyable. Now, there are a few things, however, that do not ruin the game or anything major, thankfully. There's actually nothing really in the game that's terrible, but these things, they do just hinder the experience just that tiny bit. For one, the combat is stupid simple, and this was the same in the original anyway, but my days, there is no reason to actually attack enemies in this game, because the parry itself is actually just broken. When you get a perfect parry, you can do an instant takedown, which just kills an enemy instantly. And better yet, you can also chain these together up to 4 enemies, which just one-shots them all. Now, of course, there are different enemy types, like there's some brutes who you can't just one-shot like that are a bit harder and don't work the same way. But good news, since you're a pirate, you also have a gun, and you can just blow their skulls off and insta-kill them too. I think I may have actually attacked an enemy about 5 times throughout the whole course of the game, because it just wasn't worth spamming attacks just to try and deplete their health bar, when you could just parry their first attack and be done with it. And something that really grinds my gears is why on earth, when you parry, does the text prompt for the takedown come up on the screen? Like, I get this is a small thing, but these things all add up. It's a problem with the broader gaming world nowadays, as immersion is becoming less important for the sake of accessibility. And you know, accessibility isn't inherently a problem, of course, but this hand-holding and no freedom or agency is a big issue in today's gaming, especially because these things are exactly what the tutorial is meant to be for. You figure out about a mechanic so they don't need to keep reminding you or showing you on the actual screen, because you know what you're doing. So when you parry an enemy, you can tell from the animation or the particle effect what you can do, instead of having the actual text pop up in the gameplay. And you know, as I said, this doesn't make the game unplayable or ruin the experience, but it's a little thing that would make a big difference if it just wasn't there. And then we have the stealth itself, where someone can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think on the standard setting, it's a lot worse than the original. Now, the standard setting does say it's a faithful recreation of Black Flag, but it does not feel like it. You can assassinate an enemy, and if there's someone like 5 meters away, even with their back turned, they can somehow hear you, because the assassination noise sounds like you've just hit the largest gong in the world. And better yet, if you are, say, hiding in a bush and you assassinate someone there, enemies will somehow hear or see it from miles away, but then not only will they come over, they will start walking over to where you are now instead of where the person was assassinated. Now, I changed the difficulty to the easiest just to test this, and while there's still some fishy detection going on, which I think is just more a problem with Resynced than actual Black Flag, it does feel a lot better and more similar to Black Flag in the older games anyway, as the whole point is to be able to assassinate enemies even if there's another one close by, because you're an assassin and you're quiet and you can get away with it. Plus, of course, it feels better if you can just assassinate enemies quickly because you're out of their line of sight. It feels like the combat and the stealth took a bit too much inspiration from the RPG titles, which is pretty funny because in most cases these are the worst aspects of said games. But look, As I said, these are just things that could be improved and not massive issues that would sway your opinion on the game. Resynced is truly a great remake of a remarkable game. The story, characters, the setting, everything is really well done. And with the improved graphics and updates to some mechanics, it truly is a great experience and was a breath of fresh air from Ubisoft. I'm sure we will see more remakes coming in the future, and we of course welcome them with open arms, but hopefully this is a reminder of what the fans truly love about this franchise in the first place. And with that, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this remake, so please let me know in the comments. But that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next one.